to order. It's 7:01.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to the April 4th, 2018 school board meeting. This is, it's one of my favorite, but one of the meetings I get to open the meeting. We are going to be taking nominations for chair in a moment. And with that, I would put out, if people have a nomination for chair they'd like to put on the table, please do that at this time.
I make a nomination for Jesse to be chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any conversation or any other nominations? Hearing and seeing none, I would call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Jesse, you are now the chair.
Thank you, sir.
Would you like to?
Well, yeah, we need a, so next in natural order is a vice chair. So nominations for vice chair for school board for the next year. So I nominate Ed as vice chair.
I'll second that nomination.
I'm missing my cue. Sorry, I have to get used to this. You're gonna watch some rapid learning, and we'll all be better for it. So, all in favor? Or no, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
This is gonna be probably hardest on you. I'll get a playbook going now that I've got a new role. And then next up,
Committees? Can we do the committees all
yeah, committees. All right, so school board has 5 committees: capital improvement, finance, negotiations, policy, and SES facilities. The current board members, let's see here. We have 1 committee, so we'll start there with current board members on it. Capital improvement as Brian and I, with Ed as the alternate. So I think it's healthy to just have this as discussion on what you want to do. This isn't nominating each other or seconding. So to start the conversation, I would like to stay on capital improvement. So we need to have, Brian, you want to stay? If other people want to join, we just figure out, we're not limited, but we need to have the 2 and then the alternate to make it work. So discussion on what you guys want to do.
Fun with the way it is.
Brian, any comment?
I'd like to be on the facilities, so I don't mind going off the capital improvement one.
All right. So
I'm trying to look at the,
I'm gonna, let's move you to facilities for now. So Ed and I are already on, so Jim?
Yeah, I'd be
Scott?
happy to come on the capital one.
Dude, okay, so, and I'll review these and make sure we're all square after. So right now, capital improvement is Jim and myself, Ed is the alternate. Let's just go with the momentum we have. Facilities, Brian wants on. Does anybody else want to join that?
I'd like to join that.
Okay. So we'll come back to that. Finance. Okay, so Scott is 1. Ed, you're on there, and Brian, you're the alternate. Do you want to stay in those positions, or do you want to move around?
I'd like to go to negotiations if there's an issue. I don't know about the contracts.
Yeah, I'd like to go to negotiations as well. So I'll start with that unless there's other comments.
I'm good to take me off that one. I've done that the last couple of years, so.
So do you want to go? You're an alternate on finance. Do you want to just do full share on
Sure.
finance? Take your experience there. Is this working for you? Or you just have to note it when it's done? Okay. I got to do a little horse trading. We're getting there.
Just on the negotiations, and I know Mr. Gallagher may not want to hear this, but he has been on it for a couple of years, but he does bring a historical perspective, which could be beneficial when negotiating a new contract.
Yeah, because
Fair enough.
I have it circled right now because then there's 2-year experience, so that's something to think about. But let's let this roll out, and then we'll review if that works with you. So Brian would be, all right, let's take a look at policy and then see how we do for total. So that is open. We had Paul and April. If you're watching, thank you for your service. Who is interested in policy? All right, let's start with Scott. We need a second for policy. Any of these we can all participate in, but we need our core members to get that up and running. So that's good. Brian, that seems to be pretty solid. So we need one more on policy. I can certainly,
I'll take it if nobody else
yeah, I think with our experience, one of us should be doing that. Be beneficial. All right.
So which one was it? Sorry.
Do you want to take it and I'll be alternate for that? And then we both have a stake in the game. And I'll be the alternate. All right. Facilities. Brian, Jim, and myself. Policy, Scott and Ed, and I'll be as alternate, but I'm probably be full share on that one. Negotiations is the one that's left. With your experience, Brian, from prior, you're the only board member with prior session experience. Do you want to reconsider?
I don't mind staying.
Okay. And then if Ed and I join you, then we both bring some different experience. It's highly relevant, but we can have one senior sort of gone through it before. So negotiations would be Brian, Ed, and myself. Finance would be Scott, Brian, and Ed. I think he'd be a full.
Can I add another?
Sure.
So the reason why the committees have two and an alternate, because if you put three, then you have a full quorum.
That's why it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so hold on a second. More of the meeting might be more exciting, but the next few minutes are not going to be. All right, so
I can
Jim?
remain alternate on that one. And that would fix it, because then you'd have Scott and Ed.
we have Scott and Ed on finance. Brian is alternate.
So on negotiations, who's going to be the alternate?
Just you could put me in the negotiations if you want. Be
So we're gonna
happy to
have
help out.
Brian and Ed are the core members of negotiations, and I'll be the alternate.
Which one's the alternate for facilities? I have all for policy.
For facilities, we have, I'll be the alternate on that, so that it's Jim and Brian.
I don't.
Alternate for capital improvement.
Ed's the capital improvement alternate.
I'm on three others. If you want to jump in on capital improvement with Jim, and we'll have Ed as the alternate. That spreads the load around a little bit.
So we're taking you off track.
Let me just look at this here. Jim, Scott, Ed. What's that? Brian would stay the alternate for finance. It would be you and Ed. Brian is the alternate. Negotiations would be Ed and Brian, and I'm the alternate. Policy would be Scott and Ed, and I'm the alternate there. And then facilities Brian and Jim, and I'll be the alternate there.
Do you want me, I don't mind being the alternate on that one if you want to be more involved.
Yeah, let's trade. You be the alternate, and I'll be, that's why I ran. I wanna support that. So Brian is the alternate on facilities. So it's, Jim and myself, Brian is alternate. Yes, please.
So capital improvement is Scott and Jim with Ed as the alternate.
Yep,
Finance is Scott and Ed with Brian as the alternate.
yep,
Negotiations is Ed and Brian with you as the alternate.
correct.
Policy is Scott and Ed with you as the alternate. And facilities is Jim and you with Brian as the alternate.
Yes. You guys good with all that?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure of a prettier way to do that, but that works. Thanks for your patience. That's reorganization. We'll move to roll call. Want to start and go across?
Kelly Wessels, business administrator.
Scott Ritzman, board member.
Jesse Tyler, board member.
Russ Holden, superintendent.
Brian Garland, school board.
Jim Borelli, school board.
Jackie Walsh, student representative.
Jody Bergen, Sunapee Central Elementary School principal.
Terry Gear, director of student services.
Sean Moynihan, Sunapee Middle High School principal.
Nikki Reed, Sunapee Middle High School assistant principal.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the school board minutes from March 17th, March 7th, school board meeting. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the school board meeting minutes of March 7th, 2018.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
So seconded for discussion. Any comments, corrections, updates related to the notes? Everyone's happy? Okay. All right, all in favor to approve the school board minutes from March 7th? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One abstention.
I have to abstain.
Should be three people have to
We have,
abstain.
we have 2 ayes and then 2 abstentions, Brian and Scott. All right. The agenda review. So through this evening, we're going to do the agenda review, go to public forum. We're gonna
I have
add
one agenda review.
one addition.
With the advancement of technology, we added the last action item, which is accept resignation, so we're able to update the agenda before we put it out today.
Okay.
But I want to let you know that it's changed from what was put online.
All right. But the one that, if they pick one up here, it's
It's in the back of the-
represented and accurate, okay. So after we go through this, there'll be the public forum, it's a junior job shadow program Miles is gonna present. Then the school updates, the representative, SES, SMHS, Russell superintendent update, strategic plan update, and administrative reports. We'll go to action items, informational items, manifests, public forum, agenda items for next meeting, and request to go into non-public session for discussions of matters covered under RSA 91A3, and then we'll adjourn. So, public forum for the items related to the agenda, 15 minutes open, sorry.
That has to do with the business that the school board is responsible.
Okay. I will get more smooth in how I word things. So, they can,
3 minutes. 15
3 minutes,
so-
15 minutes total, and they can go to the mic. So if you want to go to the mic, Jan, 3 minutes, 15 minutes total. You want to time it? Please
Jan
introduce.
Betancourt. I have a question on one of the agenda items, to remind the school board to complete the self-evaluation and superintendent evaluation. I'm hoping that you'll address that. Some of the questions that I might have is, it's the timing that I have a question about. There are 2 new school board members, and are they going to be asked to do an evaluation, self-evaluation and evaluation of the superintendent? If I remember correctly, in January or December, the board was asked to submit evaluations, and here it is, April. I have a question of why it took so long, and I would think it would be a priority, and it hasn't been done. Would you reconsider having a deadline, an active deadline, and in December or January, getting it done? If you have members coming on in March, they would have until December or January of the year to assess themselves and the superintendent. I think it would be much more effective. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? No movement to the mic. That closes public forum. Thank you for your input, Jan. And we'll move to the presentation on the Junior Job Shadow Program. Miles?
She's going to come forward or here or yeah. Okay. So, well, the best way to do this is probably like this here. The Junior Job Shadow is essentially what it sounds like. It's a day in the life. There are some people here who have helped out the Job Shadow in the past, and I thank you. People have been willing to help out and participate. It's basically the who, what, where, when, why, how of a job. And we try to get the kids into the workplace. It got put into the junior year as part of a redesign of the senior project. We did that with student input, parent input, guidance, administration. We got together and put the manual, made some changes to the senior project, and part of that was implementation of a job shadow program. Our hope is that a student might go into the workplace, forge a mentorship or relationship, and maybe that could turn into a pretty fruitful senior project that's vocationally driven. The timing of that is perfect. So this job shadow came out of that redesign. There's not a whole lot to say about the senior project. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. So the completion of the job shadow is as follows. I mean, the students are asked to do a little bit of reflection work, not reflection work, brainstorming. What skills do you think you might need for this job? What degree might you need? It comes off the heels for most students, not all students, of an economic project where they're looking at their interests, they're looking at a possible vocation, they're doing a budget project for a week long. So for most students, they're able to do that. Scheduling sometimes gets in the way of the junior year. But the majority of the students have done some interest inventory. For students who haven't, prior to the job shadow, they meet with me, and we do the interest inventory, and we talk about possible fits. And sometimes students do one, sometimes students do two. But that's sort of how we encourage the placement. So students do a little bit of brainstorming work. They attend a 4 to 8 hour job shadow, and then they do some reflection work on the other side of that. It's in a written format. It is the first grade for the senior project. So that's how it all sort of fits together. Some students might take on a vocationally driven senior project, and some may already had something in mind or something they wanted to do, and they go in another direction, and that's okay. We're just trying to make it a little bit more vocationally driven. So I promised Jackie I might throw under the bus a little bit here, just say a little bit about your job shadow and what you did, and maybe a little bit of your summer work.
So I went to a job shadow at Simbex, and with another student, and she and I went up there, and we kind of toured around with one of the engineers all day and learned what they do in the labs and the different kind of work that they do. That wasn't just in the labs, all the other stuff that you wouldn't really think about, like when you come in, you have to do this, and you have to hook up all of these machines, get them ready, started earlier in the day and everything. And that seemed pretty interesting to me, doing all the research and everything there. So I applied for an internship at CREL, which is the Army Corps of Engineer branch in Hanover. And I I worked there all summer, 40 hours a week, and I learned a lot. I got a lot of hands-on research, and it was a really, really amazing learning experience.
Yeah, you start to develop some professional networks, and that's sort of the idea, opening opportunities. They don't all go that way, but the hope there is that they start to make some connections to what they want to do. There are some challenges in terms of facilitating it, sometimes from the employer side, sometimes from the student side in terms of follow through. But it's a worthwhile project because it connects the kids to their interests, but it also connects the school to the larger community in a lot of ways. Some of the things kids have done, we've had finance workers that have ended up on stock market floors, the military, merchant marines, junior ROTC programs, military recruiting events, local veterans giving up their time around military, Hypertherm, Dartmouth College, Colby Sawyer, Lake Sunny Protective Agency, Hood Museum, accounting firms, area schools, local tradesmen, Corning, the London Hospital, Dartmouth Hospital, local healthcare providers, which that's challenging with some of the HIPAA rules. So we've been able to engage a pretty big cross-section of industry. And a lot of those people who do the job shadow are people who also help us with our guidance, sort of what we all kind of maybe think of as career day. We've, under the leadership of Jackie Watkins and the guidance department, we've put together, year one was a career, had a thrust towards career. Year two had a post-secondary drive, and then there was an employability skills one. But a lot of people who help out with the job shadow are willing to help out, are also there. We've had over 60 different workshops in the school over the past 3 years, just trying to engage people with the workforce, students with the workforce. So that's sort of a quick picture of the job shadow, what brought it about, how it relates to the senior project, and what we hope to get out of it.
So just to clarify that the shadow is like step one in the senior project.
That's right.
So it's
It's essentially the first grade, right?
Okay.
And so, yeah, you meet with your guidance counselor. Hopefully you're in that economics class. All kids have to take that economics class and do the budget project.
Right.
But so hopefully in the economics class, you meet with the guidance counselor, then we do the job shadow, and move into the senior project. And, sometimes kids forge forward and it all connects, and sometimes, like I said, they have other things in mind.
So we get 100% participation in that junior class typically?
Yep. Sometimes things have come up where we have exempted, or somebody is leaving or has a career plan that sort of makes sense in lieu of.
Yep.
But it's rare. For the most part, all the students participate in it, and it becomes part of their senior project.
Do you have other examples, like with Jackie's, where it led to an internship?
Other
Putting you on the
examples?
spot, but I'm just curious, sort of like a measurement perspective, because the projects are so intense. I'm just curious with the shadow if that's led to others, like her experience.
Well, in terms of
The other student that went up with me ended up working at Hypertherm all summer.
that's right.
So, we have a lot of kids go through. We had 1,000 students go through on STEM tours alone last year. So
Yep.
we see.
They're coming again in May.
I know Charlie Hackett at Hypertherm helped one of our students connect to another organization last year, medical or something like that.
And it's a small world, right? And he also does the interviews for St. Paul's, and it's making those connections, and kids see those connections too. Whether it's Charlie at Hypertherm or doing the St. Paul's interviews, right? I think it's important. We tell kids at these employability skills fairs the importance of networks. Well, they're seeing it in action, and so it's been. It's come with its challenges, and you want to see it through, and you want to facilitate it well. But you talk about people's time. But it's been a great way to sort of push kids towards being career, workforce ready.
And two questions.
Yep.
So how long is it? Is it just for one day, or?
Yep. It's 4 to 8 hours, but some students do more,
Okay.
and some students do a second one. So they say, I'm kind of thinking this, and I'm kind of thinking this.
Sure.
We see a lot with interest in psychology or maybe teaching. So we'll hook them up with Grantham Village School's been done a nice job with kids in the elementary level. And then psychology is a tough one, but we will hook them up with our school psychologist, and we have a gentleman who consults to our school, who spends time with the kids, describes, what he needed to do for a degree, how he got his practice going, and things like that. So it's...
The second is, where do the opportunities come from? Does the school provide,
Right.
like Hypertherm?
Yeah, I'm taking any
program,
interested people. I just I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just cultivating it through word of mouth and the people that you meet in your neighborhood, and it's worked out pretty well, you know.
So you'll reach out to companies and
Yep.
see if they're in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. From the beginning, there were some cold calls. People, for the most part, are pretty willing to help out, pretty willing to lend a hand and work with kids. You know, with this employability fair, hit on a nerve with a lot of employers, you know, around employability skills, just even showing up on time, following through, and they're passionate about teaching the kids the importance of that. And you know, it definitely connects with the job shadow, definitely connects with the senior project, but people are more than willing to lend a hand. So.
Thanks for the update.
Yep. All right, great. Thank you.
Program.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, school updates from our student representative to start, please. Jackie?
Okay, so speaking of senior projects, the senior project presentation night is tomorrow, and the seniors will be at the school at 5, who's this person?
Yeah.
5:15. There will be a gallery set up in the gymnasium, and everybody will be presenting their projects that they've spent a minimum of 40 hours on. So if you guys want something to do tomorrow night, you'd appreciate a crowd. We are also now a month away from prom and the senior class fundraiser, the Color Run. So if you would also like to do something on May 5th, on that Saturday morning, you can join the Color Run. You can walk it, run it, whatever you want. We'll be throwing out a guide that we've been making, and it's pretty fun. So, a couple events for you guys to come and go. Not sure. Mr. Reed, how long is it?
5K, 5 kilometers. Fancy way of saying 3.5.
All in one day.
All in one
All right, thanks a lot, Jackie. Elementary school update, please.
We have our talent show featuring student acts from grades 3, 4, and 5 tomorrow at 1:30 in the Sherburne Gym. They'll be presenting for the entire school, and we welcome families and the community to come as well. We have 2 Destination Imagination teams going to the state tournament this weekend. Actually, we have 1. Sorry, I keep forgetting they're not my team. Our spring after school clubs are up and running. We have approximately 65 students taking part in after school clubs, and we do have 4 clubs being run by high school students. So it's great to have that connection. And our spring drama performance will be on Thursday, April 19th at 6 p.m. in the Elementary School Media Center.
The date again on that?
Thursday, April 19th.
19th.
What play are they doing?
I'm not sure.
Okay, sorry.
It's,
Jungle.
is it the Jungle?
The Jungle.
Oh, thanks.
Jungle Book?
6 p.m. on the 19th.
That's right, I knew that.
What clubs do the high school kids run? You said they run 4?
They're
Just
doing
curious.
community service, science, Spanish, and origami.
That's great, thanks. All right, middle high school, please.
All right. Our play just completed, so this past week, the students put on the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I was not able to go this year to that one, but lots of positive feedback, and I was able to see a lot of those Tom Sawyer actors because this past weekend, we had 31 students go to New York City to see a Broadway play, so I was able to see many of them. So that was really something that was largely developed through Principal's Advisory. We talked about doing a trip, and so I was really excited with how many students went on that first trip, and we plan on hopefully doing it every other year. As Ms. Bergen said, we have a Destination Imagination this Saturday. I see on the action items, we're hoping that graduation will be June 15th. The seniors will also be going on a senior trip to Boston. They're going to catch a weekday Red Sox game. Prom will be held on May 5th. And I don't know if anybody caught in the Union Leader, but they had all the SAT scores for the state, so 75 high schools in the state. I think it was the 3rd year in a row Sunapee was in the top 10, so we were 7th highest average SAT in the state with an average score of 1140. That would be the senior class, and they took them as juniors, so.
Okay, so
very
that's
pleased with them.
last year's scores.
It was last year's scores, correct. Those are your scores, they haven't taken them quite. They took them.
They took them, yeah.
That's right, this week.
Was it April?
I should have known that, my daughter was stressing all day long. on
April
it,
10th
so
is,
April, yes.
April 10th is the date the numbers come out, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's 7th, I didn't see that, but we're top 10 in the entire state.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
they listed,
state
the
thing.
union leader came out and
Yeah.
listed all of
For last year.
the scores.
With the trip to New York City, had a little more color to that, if you don't mind, for folks that weren't familiar, that it was a full day.
Yes, it was a lot of bus riding. So we left at 7 in the morning. We got there at about 12:30. Then got a true piece of what New York lunches, which is fighting for a spot to eat a slice of pizza. And we had about 45 minutes there. The students had 4 different choices of the plays they would go to. They chose among The Lion King, Wicked, Kinky Boots, and Chicago. Nobody's chose Chicago, so they spread out for 3 plays. We got out at about 5. We fought through food again. We said we're going to be on the bus at 7, and at 7:01 the bus pulled out of Bryant Park in Manhattan and said we're going to get back at midnight, and I think we got back at about 11:59. So a lot of tired students, but I was able to connect with a lot of them on Monday, and they were very excited. They were very appreciative. The drama club was able to pay a portion of the ticket charge. The school was able to pay the charter bus piece, and the students paid the actual ticket piece. So the students were very appreciative of that. Good trip.
Did you get a sense of how many of the kids out was their first experience like that in New York City?
It was a fair amount. It was fun. Interesting when you ask them. Some people had been, some people had never been. Some people felt that if they drove through the Cross Bronx Expressway on the way to other places on 95, that would count.
That counts.
But it was eye-opening for some of them. Certainly, it was a good experience.
Thanks. All right, sir, superintendent update.
Thank you. First, just like to take a second to thank the community again for their continued support of passing the budget, passing our warrant articles. It's just great to have that type of community support and people investing back into the educational system. Shift gears a little bit. So we have our next school board meeting on May 2nd, and I've been sending out the New Hampshire School Board Association new board and chair training, which originally was on April 25th, but it got changed to May 2nd. So I went and looked online to see if they had other opportunities. They do have one May 10th in Whitefield, New Hampshire. So I don't think folks were too willing to go up to Whitefield, New Hampshire. So I didn't know if you wanted to potentially maybe take the May 2nd date and put it on the 1st or put it on the 3rd, so that you could, because we have 3, if not 4 of you that would probably like to attend that training.
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm traveling the next week, so if we can do the
Do the 3rd is Thursday.
just for open discussion, would the 20 hang on a second, the 3rd, Thursday the 3rd, do one day later? Does that, you can check calendars. It was nice last year to have the training. I want to go again. It was nice to have the guy come. Did a really nice job. It was really thorough. Ed and I got to ask a lot of questions. It was great, but we didn't get to meet anybody else. And I want to go. I prefer to go just to meet, hear other voices, make other professional connections. So if you guys are game for moving that. Brian's got the most complicated. Does
No,
that work
I'm
for
good.
you?
Yep, as long as it's in the same week, I'm typically good.
Okay, yeah, because I've got a couple trips I gotta look around. So let's go with Thursday the 3rd, 7 o'clock. You want to do?
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, why don't you take some official action? We can either put that in an action item, or you can do it now, whatever you.
Can I get a motion for changing the date of the May?
Yeah, let's go make a motion
Motion is for,
for May 3rd.
and we'll do same time. Or you wanna just say?
Yeah, May 3rd at 7 PM.
Yep. Elementary school. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
We'll get smoother. Bear with us. So, just to restate for notes. Okay.
May 3rd, 7 PM, Smithfield.
Yeah, let me make sure we got all the parts in there.
Now, just to continue on that line for my process. Jim, Ed, Scott, Jesse, would like to attend. I'll get you registered and signed up, and if that's, and Jim, I don't know if you've done it already, but we'll make sure we take care of that for you.
I already registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, Scott, Jesse. Ed. Super, thank you. I also want to talk about the, using the Chromebooks now and using Chrome. You've been using that online to access your email, and we've been delivering your agendas through that. I've created a team drive for the school board, and on that team drive, which you can get to as you would go to Drive in your Google Hangout, and I'll be happy to walk through this with you individually. But I put some folders up there so you have a reference point as a board. So one of the folders is all our policies, and if you went into the end of the policy, you click on, it'll hyperlink you to our school board site, and you'll see the policy right there. I put some of the training documents from the Hampshire School Board Association. I put our current budget up there. I put some different things that are going through, I put RSA, right to know laws, educational laws. So I put some just quick reference things up in folders for you and some general information. All those things have been documents that we've used here before, like the school calendar, but it just hopefully will give you more of a one-stop shop. So if somebody asks, hey, what's that calendar date for next year's school, you could click on it and go and get it. So if you want to, I'll give you a quick tutorial afterwards if you want to give me a minute. At the end of the meeting, I'd be happy to do that. Or if you kind of know your way through Google, if you go to the little waffle thing there, you click on Drive, you'll see Team Drive. And I just think it would be a great place for us to just give you documents that, again, that are public documents, they've been put out, but it's just more of a quick reference for you. And just a special thank you to John Reed back there for helping me with the policy end of it. It was well above what I could do technology-wise.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much.
It makes it a lot easier to have everything in one place and not look for it and remember it and know
It's
it.
nice.
Yep.
Our hope would be that we could get the agenda, all the agendas there as well. What we're working on is, right now, when you get the email, you see it in your email. If I put it into the Team Drive, you don't necessarily get the alert that something's been put there. So you would have to go look at it. So we're working with John to see if we can get some sort of alert system put in place, if that works. So, also just want to give a quick follow-up on the ABC committee update at the select board meeting last Monday night. It was an agenda item for the select board. Two folks from the ABC committee on the community side, Linda and Mary, both spoke about the process, both with the town and the school. The feedback for the school, they both were very happy with the amount of information that they received. They felt it was given in a way that allowed them to understand it, ask questions, and go through the process. So they said some of that publicly. They also spoke to me afterwards, and again, we're very, very pleased just with the amount of information they had and the comfortableness that they felt being asked to receive and ask questions. So that feedback. Couple program things that we're looking at right now. You may see some things brought forward in May. We talked in the budget process regarding the social worker or adjustment counselor. We are in the process of trying to financially look at that position within the current budget that we have. We think we may be close to being able to create that position. We're also looking at developing an autistic program in our elementary school. And again, this will help service some of our students in that population. And again, working with Tara with the autistic program, working on either some grant money or some other money that we have available, again, not to tax our budget anymore, but to find things within our budget to be creative regarding some just long-term solutions for kids with the autistic program. So we'll bring some information forward in May once we have a better understanding of our direction and being able to move forward or not.
Do you want to explain a little more, just so we're all on the same, all moving forward, understand that for the ABC committee, the discussion around